Hi, today I'm going to be talking about Gap Incorporated and a 2022 marketing plan. To introduce myself, hello, I am Abby Radke. I am here because I reviewed Gap Incorporated as a whole and I would like to propose a marketing plan. To meet some of you and the Gap Incorporated team, we have Sonia, our Chief Executive Officer, Katrina, our Chief Financial Officer, Sheila, our Chief People Officer, Mark, who is our President and CEO of the Gap brand. To continue, we have Sandra, who is the President and CEO of Banana Republic, Mary Beth, the President and CEO of Athleta, Ashish, who is our Chief Growth Officer, and Sally, who is our Chief Growth Transformation Officer. To introduce what I'm going to be talking about today, I'm going to start off with an industry report, and then I'm going to look closer into Gap's company report, and then take a look at attitudes and behaviors of customers, and then at the end I'm going to focus on online consumers and more information about that. So first, we're going to talk about industry report. So let's just start with some key statistics of the industry to review. So an overview of family clothing stores in the US, 132 billion in revenue, 5.3 billion in profit, 4% profit margin, almost 30,000 businesses, over 800,000 people are employed, $15.8 billion in wages, and we have 4.1% of the market share in this sector. Looking at product segmentation, first and most is women's clothing, followed by men's, then by footwear, children's clothing, and accessories. So Gap is in the mature life cycle stage, as the demand for clothing hasn't gone anywhere and it probably won't go anywhere, and it will stay steady. Looking at some more of our competitors, so we have Ross Stores Incorporated, the TJX Companies Incorporated, Abercrombie & Fitch, Covendors, United Fashions of Texas. Looking closer at the statistics, we see that we are one of the top 3 competitors. However, we do have those red down arrows, which is a problem that we need to talk about today. Gap's presence is felt around and throughout the world. With the large market share, it does have a large awareness. Headquarters are located in San Francisco, California, where the company started. To look closer into Gap's report, so let's start with some key statistics. I just want to give you a refresher on our annual income statement. These are from 2017 to 2021. We did have growth in 2017 and 2018, however, it has decreased since then. As well as in 2021, we have a lot of things in the negative, as well as our dividends per share at 0. That concerned me, so I looked farther into Gap's stock. Just today, it is down to $8.88. And this is shocking because somewhere around this time last year, we were about $30 per share. So I just wanted to point that out. Looking at our SWOT analysis, some of our strengths is we do have a global presence and a good liquidity position, as well as a large store network. Weaknesses include our decline in revenue and our dependence on merchandise vendors. Some opportunities are the online retail market in the US, and that we are a global apparel industry, strategic incentives as well. Some threats we have are foreign exchange risks, manpower costs in the US, and intense competition. Now, looking at the consumer buyer behavior, they first start off with the awareness of the brand and what products they want. And then they go to discovery and see where they can find the products So I saw online that you have a store locator. Also, you can look into like Google Maps and then online websites and apps as well. Evaluation is comparing prices and looking at quality. And intent is like the need for the new piece of clothing. And then they purchase the product, and their loyalty, they will come back for another purchase. So looking at the market demographics for people who have bought jeans at Gap in the last 12 months, we see that the median household income is around $90,000 a year. Median age is 39.3. Employed full or part-time is about 72%. Married is about 54%. Children in the household is about 55%, and homeowners make up 63%. We can see that for education, the biggest sector is grad college or more. Also, we have about 25% Hispanic, as well as African American, Asian, and white, making up our race who buy at Gap. And looking at household income, our biggest is $100,000 a year or more, but we also have higher for lower income, like 12% for families who make less than $20,000 a year, make up 12%. Looking at age of the people who have bought jeans in the last 12 months, we see that most of them are 35 through 44. However, there are a range here. And also looking at gender, we see that females make up about 3/4 of the population who buy jeans at Gap. Also looking at some of their attitudes on retail shopping, we see that the biggest is our mall maniacs, followed by our virtual shoppers, then by our status drivers, and our upscale clicks and bricks. We have low, original traditionalists, and just the essentials buying with us in the last 12 months. So I did some cross-tabulations to look at some behaviors of these customers. It's based on 2019 adult study. So it was whether or not they bought children's clothing, whether they not bought jeans in the last 12 months, if they've bought men's apparel, women's apparel, if they've been to shopping malls, if they've ordered online at Gap, and if they've gone to strip malls. So to look at some of this information a little bit closer, as that is a little hard to read, we have Gen Z, ages 18 through 20. Their highest index is 141 for jeans bought at Gap, and their lowest index is 75 for men's apparel and accessories in the last 12 months. And looking at millennials, ages 21 through 39, their highest index is 156, and that was for shopping online at Gap. Their lowest index is 82, which was not buying children's clothing and accessories, which in a way they are buying more. Looking at Gen X, ages 40 through 50, their highest index was 142 for jeans bought at Gap. Their lowest index was 75 for not buying children's clothing and accessories. And baby boomers, ages 55 through 69, their highest index was also jeans bought at Gap, and their lowest index was not buying Gap clothing online. And I wanted to look at some female-male preferences when they are shopping. Some of them being like shopping malls, if they paid attention, their online internet use, their large retail or department stores and their attention paid, and whether they like to make a unique fashion statement. They have fewer clothing brands that they always stick with. I no longer wear the clothes I wore a year ago because I went out of style. I'm usually the first among my friends to try new clothing styles. I really enjoy clothing shopping. Almost every season I buy new clothes in order to keep up with the latest trends. I like to experiment with new styles. Functionality is the most important, and I am uncomfortable wearing clothes that are different from others. So looking closer, we see that men do have a higher comparative index for attitudes about their clothing and shopping. Their lowest being attention paid at shopping malls, and their highest being they're normally the first among their friends to try new styles. Looking at women, their lowest is they have a few clothing brands they always stick with, so women do tend to have multiple brands they buy. Another low statistic here is I really enjoy clothes shopping. However, for men, it is something they like to do. And women pay more attention in shopping malls than men do. So my focus for this marketing plan is basing it on the first quarter fiscal 2022 brand results. So these are some concerning statistics, as Old Navy had net sales of 1.8 billion, down 19% compared to last year. Comparable sales were down 22%, and for Gap, net sales of 791 billion, down 11% compared to last year. And that was due to the lockdowns and the zero tolerance policy for COVID in China. So their global and North American comparable sales were both down by 11%. So I decided to look at some advertising stats here. We can see Gap consumers do respond well. This is always referring to different types of advertisements. And some recommendations based on those results. I say we have more of an online focus, as right now Gap is focusing on printing and television, but I think we should do more of a focus on communicating through online and social media. There is an increasing number of online orders, and personally, I have not seen Gap on any social media. If I did, I think I would be more likely to buy. Also comparing to that last cross-tabulation, video displays, website links, and banner ads are a good way to go. And their target market, I think we should focus on, is Gen X and millennials, with a focus on women, new families, low to middle income families or households, and in the Midwest. I also think we should put a focus on our promotion rewards, because offering great deals during this hard time with prices rising will increase sales. And based on that cross-tabulation, a lot of people are using rewards. So advertising that, like here, free shipping on 50 plus is a good way to go about that, and online only as well is a good way to increase online sales. So looking at who came to Gap.com in the last 30 days on a map, we see that the Midwest is the lowest, has the lowest index. And I think we could increase these numbers if we put a focus on this region. So looking at the people who have looked at Gap in the last 30 days and their digital activity profile, we see that they are visiting social media 3 times plus a day, mostly on their smartphones, but also on their PCs at work and home and tablets. Some of their top websites that they have visited is Facebook, Google Mail, Google Hangouts, Instagram, and Facebook groups. And I think it's interesting because 59% say that they talk about things they see on social media in face-to-face conversations, which would be a good way to increase sales for the brand. And looking at their digital activity profile, there are a lot of television users, but it is pretty even for internet usage at home. And we can see here that they use social networks at a higher rate, and they also download apps at a higher rate. So increasing our Gap app would be beneficial, especially since you can purchase all 4 brands through the one app. And this is their time spent composition. So on average, 13.38 hours on the mobile phone, 12 hours and 18 on the television. They're also looking at streaming media, listening to the radio, PC at home more than PC at work, as well as magazines as well. So to conclude, I think we should increase our online marketing for Old Navy and Gap, and we should keep Athleta and Banana Republic at a growth, and we should keep our values and promotion steady throughout. And thanks so much. If there's any questions, you can find me at radkey2663 at uwlax.edu. Thank you and have a nice day.